Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 14. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year, this is for January 14. The Old Testament reading is from Genesis 29 and Genesis 30. Genesis 29. And Jacob continued his journey, and went to the land of the Easterners. And he looked, and behold, there was a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying beside it, for out of that well the flocks were watered. And the stone on the mouth of the well was large. And when all the flocks were gathered there, they rolled away the stone from the mouth of the well. And they watered the sheep, and returned the stone upon the mouth of the well to its place. And Jacob said to them, My brothers, where are you from? And they said, We are from Haran. And he said to them, Do you know Laban, son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said to them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. Now look, Rachel his daughter is coming with the sheep. And he said, Look, it is still broad daylight. It is not time for the livestock to be gathered. Give water to the sheep, and go, pasture them. And they said, We are not able, until all the flocks are gathered. Then the stone is rolled away from the mouth of the well, and we water the sheep. While he was speaking with them, Rachel came with the sheep which belonged to her father, for she was pasturing them. And it happened that, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob drew near, and rolled away the stone from the mouth of the well, and watered the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was the relative of her father, and that he was the son of Rebekah. And she ran and told her father. And it happened that, when Laban heard the message about Jacob, the son of his sister, he ran to meet him. And he embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely you are my flesh and my bone. And he stayed with him a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, Just because you are my brother, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wage should be. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Now the eyes of Leah were dull, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel your younger daughter. Then Laban said, Better that I give her to you than I give her to another man. Stay with me. And Jacob worked for Rachel 7 years, but they were as a few days in his eyes, because he loved her. And Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, that I may go in to her, for my time is completed. So Laban gathered all the men of the place, and prepared a feast. And it happened that in the evening he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in to her. And Laban gave Zilpah his female slave to her, to Leah his daughter, as a female servant. And it happened that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this you have done to me? Did I not serve with you for Rachel? Now why did you deceive me? Then Laban said, It is not the custom in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Complete the week of this one. Then I will give you the other, on the condition that you will work for me another 7 years. And Jacob did so. So he completed the week of this one. Then he gave Rachel his daughter to him as a wife. And Laban gave Bilhah his female slave to Rachel his daughter as a female servant. Then he also went in to Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with him yet another 7 years. When Yahweh saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Then Leah conceived and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, Because Yahweh has noticed my misery, surely now my husband will love me. And she conceived again and gave birth to a son. And she said, It is because Yahweh has heard that I am unloved, that he gave me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and gave birth to a son. Then she said, Now this time my husband will be joined to me, for I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore she called his name Levi. And she conceived again and gave birth to a son. And she said, This time I will praise Yahweh. Therefore she called his name Judah. And she ceased bearing children. When Rachel saw that she could not bear children to Jacob, Rachel envied her sister. And she said to Jacob, Give me children, if not, I will die. And Jacob became angry with Rachel. And he said, Am I in the place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb? Then she said, Here is my servant girl Bilhah. Go in to her, that she may bear children as my surrogate. Then I will even have children by her. Then she gave him Bilhah, her female slave, as a wife, and Jacob went in to her. And Bilhah conceived and gave birth to a son for Jacob. Then Rachel said, God has judged me, and has also heard my voice, and has given me a son. Therefore she called his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's female slave, conceived again, and bore a second son to Jacob. And Rachel said, I have struggled a mighty struggle with my sister, and have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had ceased bearing children, she took Zilpah, her female slave, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And Zilpah, the female slave of Leah, bore a son to Jacob. Then Leah said, Good fortune, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's female slave, bore a second son to Jacob. Then Leah said, How happy am I, for women have called me happy. So she called his name Asher. And in the days of the wheat harvest, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field. And he brought them to Leah his mother. And Rachel said to Leah, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes. And she said to her, Is your taking my husband such a small thing, that you will also take the mandrakes of my son? Then Rachel said, Then he may sleep with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes. When Jacob came in from the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him. And she said, Come in to me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. And he slept with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a 5th son for Jacob. Then Leah said, God has given me my wage, since I gave my slave girl to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and gave birth to a 6th son for Jacob. And Leah said, God has endowed me with a good gift. This time my husband will acknowledge me, because I bore him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterward she gave birth to a daughter, and she called her name Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and listened to her, and God opened her womb. And she conceived and gave birth to a son. And she said, God has taken away my disgrace. And she called his name Joseph, saying, Yahweh has added to me another son. And it happened that as soon as Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me away, that I may go to my place and my land. Give me my wives and my children for which I have served you, and let me go. For you yourself know my service that I have rendered to you. But Laban said to him, Please, if I have found favor in your eyes, I have learned by divination that Yahweh has blessed me because of you. And he said, Name your wage to me, and I will give it. Then he said to him, You yourself know how I have served you, and how your livestock have been with me. For you had little before me, and it has increased abundantly. and Yahweh has blessed you wherever I turned. So then, when shall I provide for my own family also?" And he said, "What shall I give you?" And Jacob said, "Do not give me anything. If you will do this one thing for me, I will again feed your flocks and keep them. Let me pass through all your flocks today, removing all the speckled and spotted sheep from them, along with every dark-colored sheep among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. That shall be my wages. And my righteousness will answer for me later when you come concerning my wages before you. Every one that is not speckled or spotted among the goats, or dark-colored among the sheep, shall be stolen if it is with me." Then Laban said, "Look, very well, it shall be according to your word." But that day he removed the streaked and spotted male goats, and all the speckled and spotted female goats, all that had white on it, and every dark-colored ram, and put them in the charge of his sons. And he put a journey of 3 days between him and Jacob pastured the remainder of Laban's flock. Then Jacob took fresh branches of poplar, almond, and plane trees, and peeled white strips on them, exposing the white which was on the branches. And he set the branches that he had peeled in front of the flocks, in the troughs that were in the water containers, where the flocks came to drink. And they were in heat when they came to drink. And the flocks mated by the branches, so the flocks bore streaked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob separated the lambs and turned the faces of the flocks toward the streaked and all of the dark-colored in Laban's flocks, and he put his own herds apart and did not put them with the flocks of Laban. And whenever any of the stronger of the flocks were in heat, Jacob put the branches in full view of the flock in the troughs that they might mate among the branches. But with the more feeble of the flock he would not put them there. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger were Jacob's. And the man became exceedingly rich, and had large flocks, female slaves, male slaves, camels, and donkeys. The New Testament reading is from Matthew 11, verses 16 through 30. "But to what shall I compare this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces, who call out to one another, saying, 'We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We sang a lament, and you did not mourn.' For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, 'He has a demon.' The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, 'Behold, a man who is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.' But wisdom is vindicated by her deeds." Then he began to reproach the towns in which the majority of his miracles had been done, because they did not repent. "Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! If the miracles done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. Nevertheless, I tell you, it will be more bearable for Tyre and for Sidon on the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? No, you will be brought down to Hades. For if the miracles done in you had been done in Sodom, it would have remained until today. Nevertheless, I tell you that it will be more bearable for the region of Sodom on the day of judgment than for you." At that time Jesus answered and said, "I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and intelligent, and have revealed them to young children. Yes, Father, for to do so was your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wants to reveal him. Come to me, all of you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke on you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to carry, and my burden is light." The wisdom literature reading is from Psalm 9, verses 7 through 12. Psalm 9, verse 7. But Yahweh sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for judgment, and he will judge the world with righteousness. He will judge the peoples with equity. And Yahweh will be a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of distress. And those who know your name will trust in you, for you do not forsake those who seek you, O Yahweh. Sing praises to Yahweh, who sits enthroned in Zion. Tell his deeds among the peoples, for he who avenges bloodshed remembers them. He does not forget the distressed cry of the afflicted. This concludes the reading for Day 14. Thank you for listening. These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the Global Outreach Ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.